Sending off the last little bit of messages here. Hopefully everybody will get this one. I'm gonna send it off a couple more places. How y'all doing? Doing good.
Good. Good.
Almost done. One more second. Send off one more link. All right. You guys ready? Ready? Dr. Walker was lucky enough to give us a little bit of her time today and compile our questions for a Q&A today. And if we have time, I'm going to try to put about 30, maybe 40 minutes into this and hopefully get through these questions. If we don't get everybody, we'll provide a written answer. So we should have a list of what questions we did answer and what we didn't. And then we'll kind of go from there. I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
We have a lot of questions. So we may not get through but a couple, but that's okay.
Let's try our best. Let's do what we can do. Turn on my we're gonna have a little joint thing with TikTok too. So be talking to both of y'all. All right. Hi, I'm Coach Brian. How's everybody doing? Margaret. I don't know who the iPhone is. It just says iPhone, so we're just gonna say hi, iPhone. Dr. Walker's here. I don't think some of y'all had the opportunity. Oh, hey. To meet Dr. Walker. It's probably the first time you probably had. Well, you may have seen her last week, probably. Correct.
Hi, y'all.
So tell them a little bit of your background within Should It Be Clean. I don't know if I do a good job in teaching that side of it.
Okay, real quick. I'll try to make it as fast as possible. So, me personally, I have struggled with health and wellness and my weight and all that kind of stuff. And when I say struggle, like gained weight, lost weight, thought I was eating healthy. My professional background includes studies in the undergraduate level and at the graduate level in nutrition. So I had what I call a knowing doing gap, and that I had lots of coursework and higher ed in nutrition, but I didn't always apply that because I don't know why, other than I just didn't. So anyway, fast forward to 2.5 years ago, whenever I began Shut Up, Eat Clean. So I came in as a participant, and at that time I was about 24.5% body fat. I don't remember my muscle mass at the time, but here's the thing: is I was eating what I thought was healthy. Like I really thought, like in my mind, I had justified it to where I would eat very, very little, like one yogurt, one apple, and a piece of chicken a day kind of thing. And then I would do that until I would stress eat, and then I would binge eat like junk food, but then I would pretend like it didn't happen, and I would punish myself by not eating the next day. So very, very, very unhealthy habits and unhealthy way of eating. And I did not ever feel well. I was severely anemic, had other health concerns, but it took me a little bit, but I cut my body fat down about in half and built muscle mass. I'm actually weighing not like I'm probably only about 10 pounds less than I was when I first started, but it's just the body composition is quite different. And now I no longer have iron infusions or blood transfusions, and I just feel good. So there's that.
Thanks for the explanation. I don't think I do an eloquent enough job of how well you've done in the program, which is why I hired her, because she does phenomenal. She gets it. So I guess we can kind of start. Maybe we can do a little 2-minute thing about what intuitive eating is and what our definition of it is. I think that one thing that we can kind of gleam on is like the first thing you have to understand about intuition is that you have to earn it. So you have to have a good understanding of what it is that you're trying to do. So having intuition about horse racing you probably have to go to enough horse races to have a little bit of understanding of which horse might win. You're still not gonna know completely, but you're gonna have some intuition. It's kind of the same thing with nutrition. You have to work through the processes of tracking nutrition to a point where you have a generalized understanding of what protein, carbohydrates, and fat is. And if you were going to eat carne asada at the local Mexican restaurant with some mixed rice and vegetables, something moderately healthy, then you can understand that that's going to be the best choice for what you can do to go there. So you don't want to be the person at the party that's eating carrots and drinking water, because that's no fun. So, just try to have a good common sense about things. Try to be intuitive. Think about what we would think. What would I say when it comes to that kind of stuff? What would I say? What would I do if you were if I was standing with you at the party? Think about what I would, what we talk about in our videos, and then apply it. And then the good way to reverse engineer that is, if you've had that, you can kind of build the rest of your day around it. So that's where the intuition kind of kicks in. Is like, okay, like on Sunday, I had a pasta dinner, and that's what I wanted. So I went and did that, and then I measured out my pasta, I measured out my sauce, I measured out my Texas toast because I wanted that stuff, and then I had 4 slices, and then I put the rest of my stuff all together, and I had perfect macros. So that's where the intuition kind of kicks in.
Well, and at different times, different people are following a different plan. So some people are in weight loss because they're here for weight loss and fat loss, and some people are more in maintenance. Some people are building muscle. So it really depends on your goals too. Which I'm kind of jumping outside. So when you're setting up your caloric boundaries, your parameters, and then your macros, you're going to look at your goals. And, if your goals are to get stronger and to build muscle, it's really hard to do that at the same time as lose weight. Like,
let's move people in. Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry.
So, no, I thought you were going to say stop. No, you can do it. Well, you can, but it's just, like you can't really bulk up. So, because I talk to people all the time who are trying to add a lot of muscle mass and cut a lot of fat at the same time. And it's really hard when that's a conflicting kind of way of eating. So, what I was thinking about intuitive eating is what we see a lot on social media and things. It's more like, oh, just eat when you're hungry and just eat whatever. But that's not when we talk about intuitive eating, that's not what we mean. It's not just eat whatever whenever you're hungry and follow your cravings, because that's not being intuitive in a smart way.
Right.
Because that was a question, is what is intuitive eating?
So, yeah, I think we answered that. So that's one question down. We're going to fire off with another one, Dr. Walker, if you have another question.
Okay, here's one, and you've kind of answered this in your video, so this will go quickly. Alcohol.
Right.
What can I have? What about red wine?
So, to be intellectually honest about alcohol, and I've talked to most of my clients about this, your body can't process grain alcohol as energy. So it means it can't convert it into glucose. It goes into the liver and is then turned into fat and is transported into the fat cell. So, and then also it injures the liver. So for that reason, number one, you can't, no matter how hard you're working or what you're doing, you'll never burn off that glass of wine. You'll never burn off that, that whatever bourbon, whatever, but that's not counting the mixture. So then, especially with wine, you've got the grain alcohol, which is in the wine, but also you've got a high glycemic carbohydrate that you're introducing to your body. And that's going to cause your insulin levels to go up. So you're already storing fat, you're already building fat, you're injuring your liver, and you're bringing in a high glycemic carbohydrate, which is going to force your insulin levels to go up. And who can only drink one glass of wine? I don't care what nobody says. You guys say you're drinking one, you're drinking 4. So, it's just one of them things. You just got to get rid of it. I've never had a 6-pack when I drink alcohol, period. So, some people can pull it off. I don't know how. I remember some guys in the military can sit out drinking till 5 a.m. and smoke all day and run a 12-minute 2-mile. Those guys are far and few between. We're not those people. I can go ahead and tell you that right now. You're not that guy.
Okay, so no alcohol.
No alcohol.
All right. Shut up and drink clean.
Yep.
Okay, next question is, what is BMR? What exactly is that number?
So BMR is a basal metabolic rate. It's the rate at which your body has to survive if it's just sitting around not doing nothing all day. So like if you were laying in a prone position and not move an inch for 24 hours straight, this is how many calories your body estimated should burn. It's an estimation. No one knows for sure. And that's the reason why we use our watches to kind of get a good, and even that's not completely perfect. It's about 95%. So, but it still gives us a target, right? So basal metabolic rate is the basic level of caloric intake for a human being to exist. Okay. Now, if you eat at your BMR and then go walk a mile, whatever you burned, if you eat at your BMR, whatever you burn during that walking mile is your deficit. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes. Okay. And this kind of piggybacks on that. The next question is concerning caloric burn and intake. The question is, if I burn 500 extra calories, should I then eat 500 more calories?
That's a good question. I tend to have people stay where their caloric intake is, mainly because, and so if you're in a weight loss phase, there's going to be a day where you don't hit your deficit perfectly. So like you might only be at a 300 calorie a day deficit, right? Or maybe a 200 that particular day. Then, conversely, if you burn maybe 500 extra calories in the day, you're going to have that all kind of wash the numbers out. So then you'll still be at your, 500, 700, 800 calorie day deficit. Now, if you were to do 500 calories extra for like 6 or 7 days, so you're at like 1,000 calorie a day deficit, then that can become problematic. Part of the issue with like plus 1,000 calorie a day deficits are that you burn a lot more muscle mass, and also it cuts down on your sustainability. So you can do 1,000 calorie a day a deficit every day, but you're not going to last very long because it's going to affect your motivation, your energy, your sleep, all that stuff. So all the data says is to be within 10 to 20 to 30% of what your caloric intake as far as your deficit. So.
Okay. And so like what the other thing that can be a little tricky is MyFitnessPal and Lose It and some of those apps. If you have your watch connected, they're going to bump your calories according to your activity. So basically ignore that, like how it gives you the bonus calories, like for exercise or something. Because if you, or at least for me, there might be a way to turn that off, but I just ignore that part and just use my actual caloric intake, like my goals that I've set up. Because sometimes it wants to give you some extra,
Right.
So I think that can be confusing sometimes. Okay. I'm just randomly going to pick one here. This is about how to eat healthy on the go, especially if you have a busy work day. So what can you do if you shouldn't eat fast food? So what is something you can do?
So I think part of the answer to this is if you're doing the set points, you should be creating your to-do list on Sunday, and you should know that you're going to have a busy day on Wednesday. So if you're creating your to-do list on Sunday, then that will also help you prepare for whatever you got going on Wednesday. Now, if you get to a situation where it's unknown, you've got two options. You can fast because there's no good options, which is not going to hurt you. We were talking about that earlier today. So we can fast, or if there's no good options, you can pick in the local area what might be the best option for food. So that's when the intuition kind of kicks in. You want to eat one ingredient food. So if you go to Outback, I already know I can have the ahi tuna appetizer. I can have a grilled sirloin uh, with the sweet potato and or the broccoli for sides. I already know I'm gonna walk in the door and order there. So you have to, work through that process of intuition, of understanding, and doing it for a long enough period of time to have that ready for you.
Okay.
Yeah, Gabby trying to come in.
All right. And about fasting. So the next one.
Hi.
Hi. Next question. Is it bad to fast more than one day a week?
So that goes back into, depends on what your definition of bad is. So are you gonna die? That is what I think is bad. No. Okay. Now, what happens when you fast more than one day? It falls back into what we are talking about earlier. The sustainability becomes problematic. You're not going to make it for as long as you may need to make it. Some of y'all are going to be in this weight loss process for like a year. So, until you can actually get to an adequate level of calories again to maintain your deficit. So, you have to kind of think about that. The longevity is the way. So, um, you know,
And I think,
you jeopardize your ability to be able to stay in the process as far as discipline goes the more that you fast.
well, and I think that our process of a fast Friday, where we truly fast during the day, and then we have basically whatever it is, your treat meal, cheat meal, whatever you want to call it. That's a once a week thing. So I think if you're fasting more than that and eating whatever you want, you're really not following the program.
Right.
Like if that's your definition of fasting, well, if I fast all day, I can eat whatever I want at night.
Right.
Then.
And then you also run the risk of becoming nutrient deficient. And I think
Yes.
we talked about that earlier, that you would eat a lot, you would eat a little bit or eat a lot, and then not eat the next day, and then that causes you to fall behind that next day.
Mm-hmm.
So, the constant process of nutrition is the key. And the reason why we do one fast a week is so that we give the liver a break. And I really feel like it's the closest thing that we can do to replicate how our ancestors lived. So that's how I've kind of built that into the program. I assume that probably they had one day where they had to fast and go on a hunt.
Hey, we're moving along pretty good. We've only got like 4 questions left.
Yay.
So I'll try to hit the ones I think we can answer faster, and then we'll save a bigger one for the end.
Sure.
All right. So be nice on the answer to this. What if I don't have time to track my food?
It still falls back on the intuitive situation. If you break your phone and you're running around in the dark in the forest, then you should not track your nutrition. That's the only scenario.
What if I don't have time? What if I'm too busy?
You got literally, if you get good at it, if you practice at it, right now, some of y'all, it's going to take about 15 minutes to put your nutrition in. But once you get all that data entered, it's only going to take you about 2 minutes a day.
Right.
You got to build up that database, that knowledge. It's no different than Facebook.
That's what I was going to say. But then I don't have time to watch all the reels on IG.
All right, true. All right, I got a little second part of that answer.
Okay.
If you're eating paleo, so if you can't track your nutrition, eat paleo. Meat, vegetables, seeds, nuts, or fruit. So if you're going to a restaurant and you can't track your nutrition, meats, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and fruit. Your phone dies. You're out in the middle of the desert. You got to kill a rabbit. Eat some protein. I'm just joking. Rabbit's not bad, actually.
Yeah. So just, it does take a little bit of time to build up your kind of like your food bank within it. But once you get it in there, it really goes quickly, as he was saying. All right. Next question. And this is about tracking food on food prep. So how do you track and log like large quantities when your food, like if you're doing a food prep, like a stir fry? So the question was, if I make a large, healthy stir fry, how do I log it?
I've always had issues with that, because the bigger part of it is, or if you're eating stir fries, are you eating actual paleo? Because you're cooking it in oil, you're throwing a bunch of ingredients together that are condensed. I'm sure the soy sauce has sugar in it. So man, but 9 times out of 10, there's somebody that has inputted some type of data in the database in MyFitnessPal or Lose It that will be a close facsimile of that particular meal. So, unless you're inventing something new, like I have this particular dish called ghetto taco salad that's made out of like crunch chips, and it's wonderful. It has like 5 layers. It's something I made up one day. Anyway, like that's going to be impossible to do. If you feel like it's going to be a terrible calorie day, just assume that was your caloric intake and you're done.
Well, one thing that, because I like to, when I do it, I love it because I love the convenience. Going back to the person who asked about what if you have a really busy day, if you actually will do some meal preps, like where you put the stuff together in a container and have it to where you can take it with you, it is so nice because you can take it to work with you, or you can have it and pull it out to eat when you only have 10 minutes and you don't have to worry about what you're eating. But I don't always have time to do it, or I don't make time to do it. Anyway, when I do, I've tried lots of methods. Even though you're making a stir fry, so like I measure my ingredients I'm putting in it, and then I cook it, and I use up whatever the aminos, coconut aminos instead of soy sauce. But anyway, I measure it, and then I weigh it and eat, like I weigh the total amount. So if it, how much ever it weighs, and then I portion it out and weigh each portion. And then I enter each ingredient. So it's a very lengthy process, but you can save that. And if you save your recipe and you put it into your your nutrition tracking app, you can pull that back up then time after time. So like if I make my own little healthy chicken salad, I have my recipe I follow. I do it every time, and I've already weighed everything. So then it makes it a little faster track. But it does get cumbersome to do that, but it is nice when you have them ready. It's so nice when you have a whole meal ready for yourself and you can make 5 of them at a time, but it just takes a little bit of time. So that's my take on that. All right, 2 more quick questions. Well, these may not be too quick. These are could be longer. This one is on food and family. So how do you establish and maintain healthy food boundaries? For example, if you're around your family or friends and they say things to you like, come on, it's just a bite, or you only live once, you should eat this. So it's kind of like a negative peer pressure to not maintain the guidelines you've established for yourself. What do you do? How can you handle that?
You take Granny's casserole and you throw it in the garbage and leave.
Poor Granny. No, you don't.
Show everybody my website. No, you don't do that. No. So you want to have some of Granny's whatever she made. Don't hurt her feelings. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, just use your intuition. Typically what I like to do if you're going over someone's house is, and I hope I'm answering this question. I may have varied off a little bit. If I know I'm going to be eating at someone's house and they maybe have barbecue, I'll fill up on all the meat that I can get in my system. So I'm not snacking on the chips, so I'm not grabbing this or that. Or if there's like, most people actually, believe it or not, have like a vegetable medley with ranch for people that are trying to eat healthy. Grab that stuff. It's okay to have a little bit of ranch. You can safely assume it's 3 tablespoons.
It's not.
But you can measure it and see how it comes out. It's gonna wreck your fat intake, but it's you just gotta and just try. Think about what you had. If you had 3 ounces safely of sweet baby rays on your barbecue ribs, put it on there. Just look at it. It's okay to have, even if it's not perfect, it's still not. It's better than 0 or keeping your eyes on the target of 0. Right.
Well, and I just think, me personally, like I don't ever want to be the cousin that is excluded from the family get together because she won't eat anything. And so I don't ever want it to be about that. You know what I mean? Like you want your relationships to be about your relationships and not about food. So I just try not to draw attention to it myself. Like you say, go in and pick healthy things, but not say, oh, I'm not going to eat this because I am eating clean, so just don't talk about it.
Right. I think though, making an announcement to everybody that you're on a weight loss journey and trying to eat healthy. I think most people, if you preset that whole conversation with that, and that you're going to eat a little bit less than you usually do, I think most people are going to be on your team, and it's a good way to kind of create that dialogue where people are like, oh, cool, I'm trying to lose some weight. Everybody wants to lose some weight, right? And so it's a good opportunity to kind of talk about it. And then that's really when you pull out your cell phone and go to Should It Be Clean and send them a
Log in.
referral.
All right, we're down to one last question, and we could talk forever about this because it's a very broad question. Question is, what are macros and what do macro percentages mean?
Okay, so macros are short for macronutrients. So if you understand the word macro, it means large. So you got large nutrients. And then the opposite of that is micronutrients. So you got small micro, which is like vitamins and minerals. Okay, it's what the classification is, like the group set. So the group set of macronutrients, the large nutrients, is protein, fat, and carbohydrate. What was the other side of that question?
So how do you calculate the percentages?
So it's kind of based on your coach's background. There's lots of different scientific data, and lots of different opinions on that. It kind of depends. For me, I try to look at people as far as how much they're training. Like a CrossFit athlete might be at a 40% carb intake. Someone that's trying to lose weight might be at a 40% fat intake. Someone that's trying to power lift might be at a 40% protein intake. So there's some different strategies there when it comes to Margaret's trying to jump in. So we got a few more people in the room. We got to jump in here. So hi, Margaret. So the question that we're answering here was, what are macros, and what was the other side of it?
And what are the percentages? How do you know if you're eating the percentage?
It just depends on the strategy that the coach is trying to help you out with. But there's different, like I said, there's a lot of different philosophies. But I personally believe with sticking in, trying to keep it simple, and then working your way into the deficit. So that's the way to lose weight. Everybody gets caught up in the technical side of things when it's really you need to simplify it. Track your nutrition, get active. Track your nutrition, get active. Should it be clean? That's the reason why I went with the name. I can literally build the most complicated nutrition program and exercise program and all the things that you need to do for stretching and mobility and all that kind of stuff, and it would be 4.5 pages a day. And who's got time for that? All right. So what and my idea for things is to try to keep things as simple as possible for people that have very busy lives and that is very successful. Like, it has the work. So we've taken the stuff that's in our program and tested it over hundreds of people by now over many, many years in action testing. We know what works. We streamlined it and streamlined it and streamlined it. So we have the best possible program to be able to deliver for people that's virtual. I can get you to come to the gym and we can chop down a tree all day and eat lettuce. We can lose 10 pounds. We can go on 20-mile rut. I guarantee you'll lose 15 pounds a day. But can we do that every day? No. There's other options for weight loss. There's other options that you can complete, but what is the most intellectually honest program that I can deliver to the largest group of people that is the safest, has the most science behind it? That's what I'm trying to go with for the design.
Well, and the person who asked that question is one of my lifelong friends, and so I know her and I know kind of what was behind it. So I think she was getting at is like, how can you plan your meals around your macros? And so to answer that piece of it, even though she just said what are macros and what do you do with them and what are the percentages, so there's some couple of things, and I think this is a great method, especially when you're working in your nutrition app. So I'm now using MyFitnessPal. You can go into MyFitnessPal or Lose It or any of these apps, and you can enter things that you haven't even eaten. Like, you don't even have to eat it. You can enter foods in and see. Like you can see how it shakes out. Like, you can decide ahead of time. You don't have to wait till after you've eaten the food and put it in your app. So you can plan ahead by experimenting with it and saying, okay, I want to see how much if I eat this 4 ounces of salmon, 150 grams of sweet potato, and whatever else you're having. And so you can go ahead and plug that in and look at the percentages, or you can look at the actual numbers, the actual grams that you have of each of your macronutrients, and then you can make adjustments. And you can do that even a whole day in advance. So, you can go ahead and decide for tomorrow, and then if you don't eat it, you can delete it and take it out. So that's the part that I think too that some people get hung up on, is they're thinking about retroactively tracking instead of using their nutrition app to plan.
Right. Or just, if you're going to the grocery store and you're buying meats, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and fruit, right? You already have the outlook of like, what do I need to buy? Then you're going to have the right things in your house. Then you could only have meats, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and fruit to choose from in your phone. Then it's going to be very easy for you to say, okay, I bought chicken this week. I bought broccoli this week. I bought zucchini and squash and etc. Then I've already got that in my cell phone because I've used it before. Then I'm going to eat 200 grams of squash tonight. I'm going to eat 200 grams of sweet potato tonight. So it makes it a little bit more easy to be able to manage it at that point. But if you have, like 2 cups of Cheez-Its and, an ice cream bar and sticking ahead, all those things, it's impossible to track. And that's where people get lost.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have that stuff in your house, especially if you can't do it. Like me, I do great as long as that junk's not in my house, because at 10 o'clock, it's going to be in my belly.
Same.
I turn into some between 10 and 12. Don't even talk to me. I'll be eating everything. So, and for me, like I said, that's actually a good scenario. Is like, what if you have bad character traits, or just things that you do that could cause you to, it could be problematic for you. Like, so for me, I get home late, so I have to fit 2, and I do this on purpose. I'll fit 2 meals in from 10 till about 11, or from 8 till about 11. And I leave the space in my day for my nutrition for that whole. And what that does is it helps me to curtail that behavior of eating too much at night, because that completely stuffs me and I'm ready to go to sleep at that point. So.
Anybody else have any other questions that are on here that we didn't answer?
Anybody want to jump in with a question? We got about 7 minutes before Zoom kills us, takes us out.
No questions?
Let me think of a question. Somebody had one. I think Margaret had one that she fired off right before I signed on. I remember seeing it. Margaret, you still on?
Yes. Sorry, I had to jump off for a minute. Did you answer the one about what if you make like a healthy stir fry or something? How do you measure? And everything's all mixed together?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that.
Yes. And just by the way, Margaret, thanks for that question. Once this is over with, this will be batched, and then I'll be able to input it on YouTube. So we'll have this up and running by tomorrow, so you can go back and watch whatever you missed.
Okay. I stopped to tie my shoe and I found a litter of kittens. So I'm waiting for someone to come pick them up. I'm not kidding. Itty bitty tiny kittens.
Let me turn this up a little bit. I'm a little deaf. Shot too many guns in small buildings. All right. Let's see. Let me think of a question. You guys, Dr. Walker, can you think of anything? Common question. I don't know why you're on mute.
Well, I'm just trying to think of some of those are the ones I usually hear from folks, is about what if I don't have time to meal prep? What if I don't know how to meal prep? Do I need to meal prep? That kind of scares people to think about. They got to have their meals prepped out for the whole week. And you don't have to. For me personally, I like to prep my vegetables. I know that sounds kind of odd, but I like to have them prepped because that's a lot of work a lot of times for me to think through. Like if I got to wash the vegetables, chop the vegetables, weigh the vegetables to make sure I'm getting what I need. So I like to prep my vegetables for the week. So I make and measure out 500 grams of vegetables 5 bowls with 500 grams so that I've got them ready for the week. And then I just eat from that bowl all day. Like it can be my snack. I can have that in with a meal, however I want to. But then when I know the bowl's gone, then I've eaten my 500 grams. And it's easy to track because I know what's in the bowl. I put what I like in the bowl. But anyway, so that's the only thing I really meal prep every week. And so don't let that be like what keeps you from thinking you can eat healthy and nutritiously, because you don't have to actually meal prep. All right. What was that other question
So we
we
had
had?
a question come in about peanut butter. Thing about peanut butter. Okay. So what's the thing about peanut butter? The thing about peanut butter is, let's answer this out loud. Is it one item? Is it a one ingredient food? No. So, you know, you're never going to find a peanut butter. It's just peanut butter by itself.
Well, and it's a legume.
And so this is the next side of
It's not
things.
a nut.
I was trying to explain it in the most simplistic way. So a lot of people think it's a nut, so then therefore it's healthy. It's actually a bean. So a peanut mixed up is basically eating like refried beans. So can you eat refried beans? So, you know, a lot of this stuff is really simple to answer. Is it a one ingredient food? Yes or no? That is gonna help you with some of that stuff. Now, peanut butter on the 80-20 kind of idea, you know, you could throw it in a protein shake, you know, especially, you know, if you're behind on your fat and that's what you got in your house, that's fine. But I got to be honest with you at first, it's going to cause a problem with inflammation. It's going to give you a problem with your insulin levels. It's going to cause your blood sugar to go up. So, you know, if you're going to include peanut butter, it'd be better after your workout when you're about to go to bed. You know, it's kind of like a banana in that aspect.
There are other nut butters that are better choices.
Right. But you good with that, Leah? Good. So, you know, especially for guys, peanuts are very problematic. It's like an anti-testosterone food. So you have to be careful with beans because they are the female side of the plant. They carry a lot of estrogen. So if you're actually one of these people, there's a lot of females out there that have that breast cancer gene. You want to limit how much estrogen that you bring into your system. So you want to be really careful with your estrogen intake. So that's another thing to kind of circle back to especially beer. Beer is made of hops. Hops is the female side of the plant. So you're injecting yourself full of estrogen and esters when you drink beer. Same thing if you eat beans, you're injecting yourself with estrogen, which is the female hormone. Now, if you're trying to get pregnant, eat beans. You know, it's one of those things. But if you know, if you're trying to maximize your testosterone level, which is going to help you with your muscle gain and also help you with your fat loss, then you're going to want to eliminate that kind of stuff. So that falls back to, okay,
Your goals.
what is our goals are here? You know, are we trying to gain muscle mass? You know, are we trying to do whatever? So we got about a minute to go. Thanks for you guys for tuning in and joining to this thing. I'm not going to try to make an hour and a half like we did last week. We're going to try to do this, you know, maybe weekly or bi-weekly. You know, if we can jump in on Wednesday and do a little Q&A. I think the next one we're going to really focus on the Fit Thinker. I think, you know, that concept and really trying to hammer through that with people is really important. So make sure that you jump into that and look at the Fit Thinker video and try to get some questions about that aspect of the program and your set points within that. Okay. I really want to talk about that, especially affirmations. If you're in this particular thread and what I want you guys to do, we're going to send out a link for everybody to get their personality tests completed. So the Briggs Hicksman and also the Enneagram test, so everybody can have a good, accurate starting kind of idea of where their personalities are.